Good evening. How y'all doing? Can you hear me, Robert? Robert looked like he froze up on me. You froze up. Rob, you come in and Rob froze up. You frozen. Okay. Well, I'll just start it all off. Hello, everybody. Welcome to, okay, hey, watching from team. He must be meant to put 10. Hey, Mike Kelly. Mike, watch all our shows. Okay. Robert will be back in a minute. Looks like he has some technical difficulties. Uh, I gotta get him a real iPad over there or something. He'll be tuning back in a minute. We got a great lineup of issues that we'll be talking about today. I want to thank everybody for watching the Watchdogs, tuning in. If you get a chance, please share, 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 share. That's what we need you to do. Share, 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 share. There's Robert. You
Yeah, my phone is acting kind of weird, so I'm joining from the laptop. Look, I saw the disclaimer and it never went away. I was like, what's going on?
Hey,
Yeah, that was
yeah,
funny.
I had the disclaimer up there, but then I had this quote. Did you see that also?
I didn't. No, I didn't.
Okay, I'm gonna put it back up there because that's what I want. This is so relevant today. And read this.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's true. That is true.
And we
And go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I said it leads into a lot of what we'll talk about today, and this idea of apathy and what happens when a lot of people are apathetic and don't want to get involved with the processes.
That's correct. That's correct. We need everybody to get involved and get engaged and become a part of the solution because
Hmm.
that's the only way we're going to be able to do what we need to do is everybody be involved because they don't respect you unless you have the numbers to show that they should respect you. That's the only thing that they are concerned with. If you just voicing your opinion and then quitting, then they know that you're not serious, you know,
Right.
or they know that you're not going to fight them to the end. So
Well,
that's
and there's an old saying, you don't fight City Hall alone, or you can try it, but it won't get you too far.
that's correct. Good afternoon, Dr. Jones. How you doing? Glad you and Mike Kelly have commented already.
Oh yes.
Anybody have any calls that y'all want to call in? Y'all can call in when we get on these subjects that we are going to be discussing. We probably have another guest or two that might pop in. We don't know whether Jimmy J we don't know whether Dr. Torre. We don't know whether Jay and Ray coming or not.
Look, that might be a new show for you, Jimmy J and Teray.
Yeah, Jimmy J and Torre. The Jimmy J and Torre show coming to
Man,
you soon.
yeah, that might be the move right there. But I guess today we'll start with talking about the census and how that has reshaped a lot of things. And the headlines currently is Georgia's more diverse.
Yeah, it seems to be that way. I guess a lot of people are moving in.
Well,
I guess
according
a
to the
lot of
numbers, yeah.
yeah, according to the
But
numbers,
it's the who yeah, who is moving here though, you know what I mean?
it's gotten darker.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
browning of Georgia.
I'm sure
I
our
guess
good GOP friends don't like that.
hey, it's the browning of Georgia. I ain't just black. It's the
Right.
browning of Georgia
And
because
surprisingly, the two counties that have grown the most are Forsyth and Bryan counties.
Bryan County had 15,000 people, right?
Hmm.
Wow. How many did Chatham County have?
Chatham, I don't have that number in front of me. Let me see if I can pull that. But I do know that Chatham did quite well as far as
I thought it was like
people of
11.
color are concerned. Let's see. I know it's in this article by the Associated Press. Let's see. Savannah grew by no. Bryan County grew by 40. They didn't list Chatham County rather.
Oh, okay. No problem.
But
My
yeah,
thing
I mean,
is, what you saying?
oh no, go for it.
Oh, okay. Because I think you might have a little small delay. Um,
Yeah.
do you believe the numbers? That's my first question. Do you believe the census count numbers?
Well, I'll say it like this. For the participation rates, unfortunately, yes. There's so many rumors out there of participating and why I should not participate and why I should participate. You got some people out there marking the wrong information. So, even though you identify as African American, you might mark another category on the census, and that doesn't help anyone. And then you have those who just are apathetic, like we talked about, and just don't want to do it. One, because again, people don't understand what the census equals as far as resources. And then two, they don't want to take the time to do it. And so I don't believe the numbers are totally accurate. But when you look at the participation rates, I mean, like Jimmy J would say, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Dr. Betty Jones say things are changing. Ready or not, the time is here now. Y'all excuse me for this ice I got in my mouth.
And
Say
she
not
said,
really. because of what
Mhm.
Trump did with the census deadline. Correct?
Yeah, that's another aspect of it that that kind
Mhm.
of hurts some populations. The difficult part of that is equals to money, and so how that funding now may or may not go to certain communities, and how things will look politically in the future.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna if certain areas grew 15,000 people, that's a lot of people.
Hmm.
15,000, but but it took 10 years. 10 years, 15,000 people. So those areas should get more money because you have more infrastructure that you have to put in place to um, facilitate these people's travel and everything else that happens in these municipalities. But I still don't believe that we're 12% of the population of this country. You can't get me to believe that nowhere. Even if you told me we were 20%, I would say you're lying.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
would
I
say
agree.
that we're closer to 25 or 30% of this population.
Easily.
Yeah.
I
And
think in the future, I think a solution would be a better marketing campaign. Now, I know the powers that be sent folks out, had the electronic versions, but sometimes we got to put celebrities and known figures in front of these things to get people excited. So a LeBron James or that figure might be, get folks in front of that so people are more excited, younger populations are more excited because a lot of times just telling me, hey, it's important doesn't translate to why I need to do it.
yeah, I don't think they counted all of us. I think they half counted us. I think it's roughly it's over 20%, I believe. I remember one time it was 13%. So
Mhm.
we were 13 at one time. You know,
It was okay.
yeah.
So what
I
do you
mean,
think
but
happened?
yeah, somebody else could have numbers could have increased so much that it dropped hours, even though
It
we
was
might have stayed the same. So yeah, but I still think that we were undercounted. I don't think that they counted all of us, and I think black people have this uh, I don't know what you call it, this fear of being counted, of
mhm.
being included in anything with the government. And they'll hide. They won't fill out the paperwork. They think somebody's looking for them for a bill or something. Sometimes. So, I don't know.
That student loan.
Yeah, you can't get them to understand that how important it is to be counted. You must be
Mhm.
counted. But you know what, though, Robert? When you're born, you have to get a birth certificate.
Mhm.
You have to get a social security number at some point.
Right.
And when you die, there's a death certificate. Why can't the census count be counted from the birth certificates and weighed against the death certificate?
Yeah. We were just thinking the same thing.
It's crazy that they can't do that. It's that simple. If you put it in the machine and let the machines do it, they have this antiquated system, I guess, so that you can somebody can always get paid. So,
Well, that and as we were talking about it, I thought about this part too. Some people do move out of the country, so how do you track that? So in that regard, and probably some other situations, you would have to do a census to kind of track that piece. But
well,
I do agree with you.
even if they move out the country, Robert, they still a United States citizen, and they still should be counted somewhere. Their
Well,
last known address somewhere. They didn't
but
give up
that what
citizenship.
well, wouldn't that impact resources? You know what I mean? Like the federal funding and all of that good stuff. So if you're not here per se, and let's say you move to France, should that person be counted in that particular area? Because that's going to shift the allocation of funds.
Not that much, Robert. You're talking about a hair of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. Because how many people
Well,
are
true.
just leaving saying, I'm going to live in France now? I mean,
Look, none of us
the
do.
numbers are so minuscule that you wouldn't even think that they matter. They don't matter,
Yeah.
you know? I think that there's something else in play here. And that's why the Republicans act the way that they act.
Hmm.
That is why. You telling me that we're the white population is 57% of the population of the United States. The
Yeah.
Hispanic population is 18%, and the African American population is 12%. The Asian population, I think, was at 6 or something.
Hmm.
Nah,
Yeah,
those numbers,
I think it's a little skewed. Yeah.
yeah, those numbers are way off, way
Hmm.
off. And uh, I mean, I'd like to see the totals by this. If 57% of the population, give me how many people you counted for the
Hmm.
57% for the white population. Give me the number of people you counted for the Hispanic population. And give me the number of people you counted for the black population. If it's 350 million people live in the United States, show me the numbers and then show me how many people were not counted. Then we'll know if it's 50 million people that wasn't counted.
Hmm. And by the way, I just thought about this. Remember, Trump had this massive deportation, get rid of folks uh movement going on as the census was going on as well. So a lot of your Latinx population was being shifted around, put in these cages and all of that. So that could have hurt the numbers as well.
Well, yeah,
Or
yeah,
a lot. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You are
So I tell
absolutely correct.
look, they had the right person in the White House at the time. I tell you that.
It was all a plan. They put Trump in there for a reason.
Hmm.
Trump went in for a reason, and he did what he was supposed to do.
And he was
And
not afraid about it.
and yeah, and they told him no word. We not. That's why he was so bold in the things that he was doing.
Hmm.
He did
Hmm.
anything he wanted to do when he wanted to do it. You know, but we have to find smart thinking legislators that will say we have to find a different way to count.
Hmm.
Everybody that's born has a birth certificate. Let's count the birth certificates. Everybody
That's
that
right.
dies has a death certificate. It needs to be entered into a national database where it can be added and subtracted. The numbers can be done the way it's supposed to be done. You know, it don't make no sense.
As a matter of fact, they need to work with the postal service as well because if someone, let's say someone moves state to state or from Port Wentworth to Savannah, they can track that as well.
Correct.
See, it can be an
Correct.
automatic. Yeah, that's a yeah.
They got all kind of ways to track this. All they got to do is want to do it.
Hmm.
They just got to
And look,
want to do it.
well, look, the post office is suffering now. That's go ahead and move it over to them. I think they need to maybe start managing that process.
Correct. That wouldn't be a bad
Hmm.
idea. That wouldn't be a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all.
But yeah, I think we've got to find a better way to approach this because it's almost like voting. Some people understand the severity of it. Some people take it lightly. And when you take it lightly and you forget, or I got to work, or whatever that might be, you impact so many things, uh, and there's no turning around. So now what we've done is place so much power right here in Georgia, at least, in the hands of the Republicans to now redraw districts, to
Yep.
tell us where the funding will go, and what does that mean 5, 10 years down the road?
That leaves us behind
Hmm.
again. You know, it leaves us behind, and if we don't do what we got to do as a team, and that's some of the things that we'll be talking about later on in the show. Where we go from here, you know, it's later on. We got 5 or 6 subjects. This is just the first one, but we
Hmm.
we we need everybody to have a. It needs to be some type of uh, education um, um, function
Kind of a
for
campaign. Hmm.
for it. And I mean, they did a blitz now for this. I've never seen the census talked about so much as this one was.
Well,
And they do it every 10 years. Go ahead.
no, I agree. The issue, I think the gap is here. And I mean, nothing can be perfect, but to say fill out the census, fill out the census, fill out the census, that's one thing. To say if you don't fill it out, these are the results. So, for example, when you fill it out, you impact who's going to be your representative, who's going to be your city council person. Um, this particular funding can come to your city or your particular community. That translates to people, oh, that's why it matters. It's almost like voting for city alderman or whatever position. People don't understand what functionality that individual or that seat does.
Oh, that's
And
why it
so
matters.
when you give people that information, it tends to make people realize, oh, that's why it matters to me.
Right,
Hmm.
right, right. Dr. Jones say the post office is having a difficult time just delivering mail to the right addresses. Well, that was because they had a dysfunctional, egotistical
Postmaster.
maniac in the White House, narcissistic retard in the White House,
Not the real.
you know. And now we got rid of him, you know. But anyway,
Tell
I
you.
think that we were undercounted as a people. We were undercounted. I think it's probably it's done on purpose. That's what I believe happened. That's
Mhm.
just my opinion. I
Well, let me
believe that we were undercounted.
let me ask you this. So, is it like voting where if you happen to mark two things or make a mistake, they throw it out?
That's a good point too.
Hmm.
What do they do with those? And
That's a good
how many
question.
of those were there? That might, those could count for a large percentage of it. You know, but they know, and this is the strange thing. They know that there are people out there not filling these forms out, the applications
Right.
out. They know this, and they know how many. They know every house to knock on.
Hmm.
Every house, every door. They know what door to knock on. They know where to find you, and they still can't get the count right. And I mean, someone you could Google and find out how many people, estimated how many people were not counted.
Let me
But
try that.
yeah, because it's got to be something different that they got to do. Somebody got to be thinking on a different level. You just can't let the census run every 10 years and you're doing it the same way every time. I bet you in all these uh, dictatorships, they know every single person. Everybody in Iran had to vote. Well, it was Iraq. I think it was Iraq when Saddam Hussein was in power.
Hmm.
Every single person had to vote. If you was an adult, you had to vote. It wasn't no it wasn't a privilege. It was an obligation. You had to vote. So
Yeah.
uh, we need some type of mechanism, something here in the United States that makes people vote. Also, see,
But,
some people don't want you to vote.
yep, there you go. But you know what? I think our theory earlier might ring true. So Texas, Florida, Arizona saw lower than expected census rates. Who's in those states? Latinx populations. And so
Democrats and blacks.
there you go. Yeah. And so Eric Holder, based on this article, said that it could be due to Trump administration's shameful handling of the question. Remember that citizenship question and how that turned into a big debacle? So, I forgot about that. That was a huge piece that probably ran folks away.
Yep.
So, Mark, I'm not a who's gonna do that? Who's gonna fill
Yep.
out paper and say I'm not a citizen and then you come deport me? So that
Exactly.
probably was a huge piece of that.
Exactly. I think Holder is trying to fight that in court somewhere. A
Mhm.
whole lot of it he's going to be trying to fight. He's with this. What's the name of that group he's with?
Let me see.
It's a group he's with that is fighting all of this with the census,
Let me see.
and they're suing a bunch of states.
Kind of a class action lawsuit.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
and I saw him on MSNBC with Rachel Maddow the other night. She
Mhm.
had him on. I think it was last night, night before last, Thursday or Friday night. She had him on,
Mhm.
and so we are hopeful that it will get somewhere. I know that he and Obama were touring the whole country doing some things, trying to make sure that we get counted. And I know they grossly undercounted us. But anyway,
But the
um,
thing is, how do you rectify it now? It's,
correct. What's the solution?
yeah, how does that look? Because you just can't well, the results of what's going to happen because of these numbers will hurt certain populations. So yeah, what is that solution? I mean that's going to be an interesting segue.
But if you notice, there's not been anything in the public with the urgency to get people counted because they know that if you count everybody, then funds get taken away from other people. So
Hmm.
there's no urgency in doing it. So they don't
Hmm.
mind the old broken system to stay in place. And it takes people with leadership to stand up and move forward and say, you know what, we're going to fix this and we're going to get people uh, to we're going to get the right system in place so that everybody can be counted. Everybody,
Yeah,
every
yeah,
single
yeah.
soul in this United States.
Look
You
here,
know,
we'll wait for well, avalanche to come first.
yeah.
We'll hold your breath,
Okay.
basically. Look,
Yeah.
look
Well,
at as long as you
this,
got the Brian Kemps of the world, the DeSantis, they argue about a face mask, much less trying to do the right thing. They want
yeah,
kids to get sick. So
yeah. They want to experiment, let the kids get sick.
there it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, our next subject is new district voting lines being drawn. Wow, we had a big discussion on this yesterday,
Hmm. There are a
and
lot
it's
of
going
what
to,
ifs out there.
huh?
There are a lot of what ifs out there. So
Yeah,
many. They
yeah.
can take so many directions.
Who's on that panel from Savannah? Is Senator Jackson
I'm
on it?
not absolutely. Yeah, I think I've heard and I haven't confirmed, but Representative Malo may be on that redistricting committee. Anyone you heard of? And let me see if I can Google it.
Yeah. And how many people on it? Probably got more than 20. Um,
Let's see. Redistricting of Georgia.
and it's going to affect every municipality. It's going to affect the city. It's going to affect the county. It's
School
going to
board.
affect the state. So all these elected officials within these cities and these counties, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect the state also because they draw the lines on the state representatives. They draw the line on the U.S. representatives. You know,
Hmm.
I heard Savannah might be getting a extra U.S. representative in this area. If it ain't Savannah, it'll be they'll move it and switch it toward. They'll put one. What? That's 26,000 people that we gained over this way for between Richmond Hill, Savannah, and where was the other place?
Bryan County
Bryan County, Chatham County, and where else?
and Forsyth, which is up north.
Oh, Forsyth. Okay. Well, look
Hmm.
how many people this area has gained. How many people Pula has put in, Pope Wentworth has put in, and Savannah and Bryan County. So it's a
Yeah.
it's a lot of people that move this way.
And I forgot it was one state that actually lost a representative, a
I think New
congressional.
York lost one.
I was like, what?
New York lost one.
And that's why it's important.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to
New
see
York
who's on
lost
that
one.
committee.
California might have lost one. If I'm not mistaken, when it first came out, they had already said that that the numbers were so low, and if they'd have counted another, New York wouldn't have lost theirs if they would have counted another a few thousand more people,
Hmm.
a few hundred more people. They were that close to the number that they would have kept theirs, but they undercounted so bad that they didn't. And then look, you had 600 people a day dying in New York
Yeah.
during the
COVID.
pandemic, during the
That's
height
another
of the
thing.
pandemic. You know, so they're going to lose
Yeah.
600 people a day.
That is, you know what? That is nuts. So much was going on to just distract the whole process.
Yeah,
So yeah, man, look here. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, those numbers can't be accurate. No way.
no way,
Honestly,
no way.
we could tie this to voting, and make it a mandate to vote. I guess, but no, we can't make it a mandate. That'll create a firestorm.
And you're absolutely right, Ms.
Yeah,
Byers. She said, as the establishment's
yeah,
purpose, they want to keep the funding for certain communities and continue to use the same strategies to keep people of color in poverty. That is exactly
yeah,
right.
yeah,
And Dr. Jones said, what is happening with Mickey Stevens' seat? I don't know.
yeah.
That is a
Well, really,
conundrum.
all of those state rep seats may shift. Based on where the population is going. Because I
Yeah.
don't. Do you know the rule? Like, is there so many people that have to be in a particular district, and how that is set up?
Yeah. I mean, when they look at the population and they got to draw the line, so each area is given roughly the same amount of voters.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The problem comes in, and this is this is where it gets real dicey, where you may have had, a 70-30, voting where you had 70% Democrats, 30% Republican. Now they can redraw the lines to where that shifts to maybe 50-50 or, 60, 40, whatever. And so that's where the issue comes in. And who's in the driver's seat? There you go.
That's correct.
So whoever has power will have the authority to draw those lines. And we may have a seat at the table, but at the end of the day, what we know about our good GOP friends is they pretty much, when they set their mind to it, it is what it is.
That's correct too. And they're going to change
So
whatever they need to change to make sure that we don't get what we're supposed to get. And they
yeah,
do it and they don't care. They don't care that you see what they're doing.
right.
They doing it.
And
And then we get people that know what they're doing and don't tell the people. That's why I love all the women on Savannah City Council. They see what's happening and they come back and
mhm,
they tell it. And
yeah.
these people is driving these people in power crazy because see they're not used to people coming back and telling what they're doing.
Well,
They're not used to it.
they understand the accountability to the people and to their community, which is
Correct.
something that has been lost. And it's interesting to me, Jay talks about this all the time. We continue to put people in place that once they are in that seat, they either A, totally throw out what they said, or B, they never come back to the people until it's reelection time.
That's correct. That's correct. And I mean, I noticed that everywhere, especially out here in Port Wentworth. You got a mayor that we helped get elected, and then he hasn't been back to the communities. Period. Not one time has he been back to the community to talk to anybody. But now all of a sudden he's out trying to ask them to come um, to come
To vote for them.
vote for him and let
Hmm.
him speak to them. You ain't spoke all before. So, now we got somebody, me, who's going to get in and going to do what needs to be done, uh, and going to go to the voters every day. I'm going to be in the streets every day. There ain't
And
no
look,
hiding behind a closed door.
and with the technology, all you got to do is set up a meeting on Zoom.
They, but they're
Yeah.
so antiquated. These people are country hillbillies. I'm serious. I mean, somebody told me don't call them that, but shit, that's what they are. What you
Hey.
want? I get tired of people telling me don't say this, don't do this. This
Mhm.
politically, man. I'm just being real. The
What'd you
people
say, Mayberry?
are hillbillies who we need to replace. I don't care if it's not if it ain't with me. They need to be replaced so that we can move this city forward, so we can move the state forward. Things start at the city level first and move out. We got to get things moving here. These people are holding things up. There's
Hmm.
a lot they're holding up. And people always crying and complaining. Don't talk about this. A lot of people tell you, don't, you shouldn't be talking about race. If you look at the news every damn day, all
Right.
they talk about is race every day.
Yep.
But when you get to the local level, people want to tell you that you shouldn't say this. And you should, man, stop being scared. Just say what's on your mind. It ain't. You got to address the elephant in the room. If you don't address the elephant that's sitting in the room with you, it's gonna always be sitting on your chest,
Well, I'll
and
tell
you
you one
can't
thing.
breathe.
When you take that race out of the conversation, you end up with stuff like weeping time because now nobody wants to talk about it, and B, you stop talking about your own history, and
Yeah,
so it becomes easier to come and take land from folk. It's just all tied together, all tied together. It's like you said earlier, it's a strategy, and we've got to start being a little more strategic and seeing when these apparatuses are put in place. For example, weeping time. This has been in the works for years. We just caught it. But that strategy has been there for a long time, and but we just gotta sit back and start planning ahead and catching these things before it gets out of our hands, get away from us.
that's correct. We do. But
As Fire said,
uh,
I see this comment here, and it's so true. Accountability. I think when it comes to accountability, it's in the hands of the voters. And one of the things as I read her comment, I thought about our neighborhood associations have got to get more invested in these processes. So, for example, do a report card for your neighborhood association and your residents. How did this person do as mayor? How did this person do as city council? And rate them A through F, like you do in high school. And if they
that's
don't get an
correct.
F, hey, there you go.
That's correct. That is absolutely correct. Jackson John said people have a lot to say, but no one wants to take the responsibility. That's correct also. That is absolutely correct. We need people being responsible. We got three older women that are taking the heat for a lot and trying to hold people responsible, but they need help. They need
Yeah.
help to hold the people that are stopping them to be responsible. They need help, and until we give them that help, it's going to be a problem.
And you're right, because what'll happen eventually they're going to get fatigued. You know
Yeah,
what I
they
mean?
get
And then
worn out.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely correct. It affects you on the city level. What they're doing with these new voting lines, that's going to affect the city, the county, and the state.
hmm,
You know, you're gonna get new representatives. One district that you used to vote in for the last 20 years, you ain't gonna probably vote in no more.
hmm,
Probably voted in all your life. That things about to change for a lot of people, and that's
yeah.
because a lot of people don't get involved. They don't understand the importance civically of how deep they need to be involved. Just watching it don't mean nothing, and having an opinion
Mhm.
on it don't mean anything. You have to get involved. You have to get engaged.
And
You know,
can't wait for the next person to do it.
that's right. You know. And in my closing, I had something I wanted to tell everybody, so I'll tell everybody in my closing anyway. But um, it has to be more than just us. Here
Yeah.
on this platform, we're doing all that we can. We're trying to keep it alive. We're trying to keep the conversation, the dialogue, the discussion. We're trying to keep everything, the issues alive so that you can see how they affect you. And we try to give it to you raw so that you can make the decision on your own. We're not trying to persuade you one way or the other. Although we do have our opinions, we're going to tell you what the issue is, and then we'll give you our opinion. But you need to make up your own opinion. We really are like what Fox News said. We give you the news and let you decide. You know, but
I
they
wish
don't
they
do that.
would.
But we do. So uh, good afternoon, Mayor Hall, and my neighbor, Dr. Brian. Julius,
Hey
you
there.
just confirmed my observation, so I won't bother to ask whether or not we're essentially a 6'3" or a 5'4". We are a 6'3". It has changed. The council has changed. There's only three people that's voting the way that they should. I don't, on this program, if we know a name, we call a name. If it's not going to do that person any harm, we
Right,
don't care
right.
about it doing any harm politically, but as long as it doesn't do the person any harm, any bodily harm. And we
And and and,
understand,
right, correct. And to add to that, and I hope this is not real information. It's my understanding that our current representative at the city level may support what is it called? So over here it's a single family, not a code. Is it called a code? Um, you know what I'm talking about, right?
uh, I,
Family
you would,
dwelling, not code. It is a code of ordinance anyway. Single family dwellings, but the current powers that be may support moving it towards a duplex type situation or multiple family type environment. And that's just not where the people are. I don't believe. And so
well, she should
if
do
that
what
is
the
the case,
people ask her, Robert. She should do what the
exactly.
people ask her to do,
That's
and,
right.
and not what she wants to do, or not what somebody wants, some friend wants her to do. It's what the people who voted for her. And then the people out there has to show her uh, that they're serious, that they're not behind her, that they don't support her. And I know Dr. Shabazz well, and I call her a friend, but you have to do what's expedient for the people, not what's expedient for any contractors, not what's expedient for any um,
Or any kickback,
business people.
whatever that might be.
you know, I didn't go that far. Uh,
Well, and I'm not suggesting that, so I don't want our viewers to
Yeah,
take that
yeah,
back.
yeah. We're not
But
suggesting that
we're
there are any improprieties. We're
right,
just
but
saying
we're
that
all
things
we're
look
we're
kind of
all
fun.
motivated by something, right? And
Yeah,
so, you know, it's no secret. You got a restaurant in the area, and that's fine. I love it. I love it. I actually go there myself. However, when you become, and I'm not suggesting anything, but when you become a leader, in my personal opinion, is you interact with your constituents. And that means showing up maybe once a month, just tuning in with the residents. I don't
hmm
understand that whole concept of, oh, 4 years later, it's time for me to get reelected. Now all of a sudden I want to hear your issues. We've had issues the last 3 to 4 years. Where have you been? You know what I mean? So, to
yeah,
any public leader out there watching, you got to stay tuned with the folks. Stay tied in.
yeah. And then the thing is, don't whisper. Say what you're gonna say out loud, so people can say you sat there to govern. You're not sent there to see what happens. Come back and whisper something. Just say it. You ain't nobody your boss but the voters.
That's it.
That's the only boss you have is the voters and God. So you have to be accountable to both of those people, those entities, the voters and God. So you got to do what's right. We know that Alderwoman Alicia Miller Blakely, Alderwoman Bernetta Lanier, and Alderwoman Keisha Gibson Carter. They're doing what's right for the people. Ain't no question about it. You don't have to, they were assailed on social media lately by some people, wondering whether they brought those people to the city council to do uh, um, what was done, the protest that happened at city council on Thursday. Those were Republican people that came there protesting. How the hell did they get the Republican people to come there? Those people are just engaged and involved and came there to protest, to voice their opinions. And more people need to do it. More people in our community need to do it. Caller? Hello? Caller? Just got him. Oh. That was one of my mentees. I thought that was a caller, but that was one of my mentees. I'll call him back. He's supposed to be outside. He's supposed to be cutting my grass right now. Anyway, I'll call him back. Let's see what Dr. She said, yes, they are, and we greatly appreciate all that they do. Yes, they are. Our eyes have been opened, and we are not going back to sleep. That's right, Dr. Jones. We are not going back to sleep. We're going to do what is necessary to help these ladies. We all need to be on the front line with them while they're protesting. We need to protest. While they're voicing an issue that we need to be concerned about, we all need to be concerned about it. The lines are being drawn. There are new lines being drawn, and it's going to affect a whole lot of people. And we got to see how it affects the people that we want to put in office. We need to start recruiting people to put in those positions because some people have to go. We're not staying with the status quo. Anyway, we'll move on to the next subject. Robert lost his signal again. I got to get him to get rid of Hargrave and get Comcast or something. I got AT&T, I think. I don't know who I got. Yeah, AT&T. I'd left Comcast alone. Comcast is some gangsters. Comcast just robbed you. And I hope somebody's showing what I'm saying. Comcast, man, I don't even want to talk about them. They won't even let you know when your promotion is running out. So because suppose you paying $120, and next thing you know, you're paying $151. And you wonder why, because they didn't let you know that the promotion is running out, and that's Comcast doing it on purpose. And if they do 1 million people like that every month and get 30 and getting $30 extra from them before a person realizes and protests it, that's $30 million a month that they're making on the side in extra fees. That because they didn't let you send you an email to tell you that your promotion just ran out. Yeah. I got off subject, right? Talking about Comcast. They get on there's some real gangsters. You froze again. But we're going on to the next subject. And the next subject is, why are we so divided as a people? Why?
Ooh, I'll let you begin that one.
Why? I don't understand it. It just baffles the hell out of me. Is it because we have selfish people that are governing for us? Is it because we've gotten comfortable in the situations that the livelihoods that we're in, the lives that we live? We don't care about anything else. They made things so convenient that you shouldn't care about anything outside of where you are. I mean, what is the problem? I can't understand why we're the only race of people on this planet as divided as we are. There are no others.
Well, and I had this conversation, I think, a few days ago with someone. And my theory is it goes back to slavery. When, the slaveholder or the master, whatever you want to call them, would purposely separate the family, in particular, pull the father figure away, utilize the females as just sex toys, and then you just got this all this foolishness going on, and we're still kind of haven't shed some of that, if that makes sense. And so now there, when you remove that cohesiveness, when you remove that sense of family, and it's never reintroduced, there's really no guide or roadmap or framework to follow. If that make that's just kind of how I thought about it. And we're still living some of the repercussions of that.
Yep, that is absolutely true.
Um,
Some people haven't woke up to realize um, that slavery is over. You don't have to be a slave, but they have your mind still trapped in the slave mentality function. And you got to get the upgraded version of your mind.
mhm.
You got to come out of that closet. I ran into some people here, you know, that are letting one white guy tell them something about me. But I don't care. Say what you want to say, but they still have this slave mentality that, oh, I got to please this guy. I got to please this white guy because he came to me with this information. I got to please him. I got to show him I'm
And look,
still on the team. No,
and
just
look,
be yourself. It ain't
and
about black
won't
and white.
come back to ask you if it's even valid.
Yeah. Well, and even if it is valid, come back and talk to the person and
That's
find
what I'm
out
saying.
what. Yeah, find out. If it is valid, what is the situation? What
Yep.
can you explain to me? What this is, or why would this person say this? You know, but some people will live that way forever because they always feel like they got to please somebody else. I
And that,
don't understand it, but
and,
that's the way they are.
and that's it. I actually had a family member in a situation like that yesterday. And I mean, guy screaming in her face and this and that and the third and the fourth and the fifth. I said, "You still got the receipts?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Show them to him." One phone call was made, it was dissolved. Bad information. So, what you see and what you hear ain't always real. And if you don't pull the receipts or get the receipts to look at it and get the right information, you run around and he looked real fool. He even said that I look real fool. Yeah, you do. You right here screaming and hollering at somebody and you dead wrong.
Yeah,
Dead wrong. But I think, another part of it is, um, from my experience, at least, and I might be wrong, is we as a community, we don't understand how to treat one another with customer care service. And that's a broad term. And we don't want to see the other person excel. I don't know what that's about. I, for one, am happy when the next person excel. It means our community is growing. We are together collectively becoming a greater community. Everybody doesn't see it that way.
yeah, yeah, and they need to. What has us divided is when some people get in positions, then they become opportunists. They realize that there's more money over here that I can get because I've been friends with this person who uh, is a subcontractor on a project that I'm gonna give this contract. you know.
Hmm.
So this person is greasing my palms. This person has gave my son a job, or this person gave my daughter a job.
Hmm.
And it goes deep. It goes deep. It goes real deep. It's just like as bad as the how Alderwoman Alicia Blaker said last night on the show. We did a special show of the vulnerable communities, and she was talking about classism, elitism,
Yeah,
all these isms that we are here, and it's not just here; it's all over, really,
yeah.
and it's all over, and we have to get away from that. And because and the classism is one of the worst parts because you have just like here in Savannah they had the group called what the Boulets the
Yeah.
Boule, and everybody wants to be a member of the Boule. You know, um, the boule. Who wants to be?
Well,
They all want to be a member of it. They initiate these people in who are going to sell you out, and these people don't care about nobody but themselves and their families and those that are in that group. Everybody else is uh, casualties of war.
and I'm glad you mentioned that. I say this often. We have all that, you're exactly right with the class piece. We can become a society where if you're not in that talented temp or that upper echelon, then you're just not considered, or you're not, that particular group may not acknowledge you in the way you should be acknowledged. But at the end of the day, you got to remember, you everybody who has had those family members or themselves have been on the other side of that track. And so, we've got to step away from that piece and start understanding that if you got a resource over here, and we know somebody over here in our community does not have a resource, it's almost like the Black church. Why in the world would we not figure out a way to help everybody kind of stabilize or at least try to have a come up? It just blows my mind. And what I mean by the Black church, you'll see a pastor running around here in the most expensive car ever, and you got a whole congregation, members in your congregation, homeless. That blows my mind. Why are you?
It does.
What's
It
going
does.
on?
It does. It does. It does. The church can, and I had a lot of time to think about church and the things that the church should be doing and the way that a church should be ran. And we do have a lot of greedy preachers. We have a lot of people that are set in their ways, but it needs to be a new church. It
Mm,
needs to be a new church because, see, you can take care of those people that are in the church. Just like you have a building fund, you can have a building fund for your church members who are really suffering. And yeah, you have to worry about those that are playing on the church, that are go to this church and do it and get money and go to this church and get money. But there has to be a system also in the church where that person is. Uh, you got all these deacons that go around and pray for people when they're sick, go around and care for people when they're in need.
yeah,
Send those same deacons to do their job then. That's a part of their function as a church, not just when the people get sick, it's when the people are in need. Need
that's
is
right.
more than just sickness. And you got the churches, you got the pastors living in gated communities, and some of their congregation barely keeping their lights on.
That's
You
right.
know, take some a pay cut, pastor. You can have a church can have a lottery, just like they have a lottery here. Have a lottery inside your church.
It's got to be, like you said, it's got to be a new model. And I'm not suggesting that pastors shouldn't have a good life. Hey, if y'all, if the resources are there, go for it. But it just, you can't come to me with scripture on one thing and then turn around and your folk out here hungry. That don't, no, that's not gonna work for me.
Yeah, that's correct. Because you if you took up for this the rent fund, all these people losing their houses and losing their apartments and everything, a rent fund in your church. You collected uh, this week $750 in the rent
Hmm.
fund this week. Go find somebody in the church to give this to who might be in need. And if nobody in the church is in need, go out and find somebody. That's your duty. Your duty is not to just come give a great sermon. Anybody can give a good sermon.
Hmm. And
You
but
know?
it goes back to the why. We tend to be, what's the word? Once we've arrived or made it, then we tend to put blinders on, right? And we don't see the other things going on around us. And we got to change. I mean, some of these communities we see, like from the Middle East or different countries, and how they stick together, it will blow your mind. But we are so individualistic over in the United States. And then when you start narrowing that down to communities, it gets even worse. Oh, well, that ain't my problem. Well, yes, it is your problem. I mean, if a person's out there and they can't eat, you don't know who that might be, your grandmother's, auntie's, stepdaughter's. You don't know. We're all
Right.
connected some kind of way, but we've got to start doing a better job of being a real community. And the other thing is, we tend to justify when we do. For example, I'll go out and get a speeding ticket, and I'll justify it. I'll, whatever, whatever. But you go get one. Oh my God, how dare you go speed? We do that too much. We'll judge. On just yesterday, you did the exact same thing. So
Yeah.
we gotta start self-reflecting and be stronger and understand that you might have and you might have done and you might whatever, but don't turn a blind eye or think you are greater than the next person because you can get demoted. God can demote you.
That's correct. And to go a little further on your analogy just now, um, you got people that will judge a person who got caught doing something
Hmm.
and do it every day themselves until they get caught. Then what's the deal? Until they get caught, you see what I'm saying? Until they get caught, then they're judged. Then they understand it. But you got that happening every day, just like you just said. You're doing the exact same thing. I got a ticket for speeding, and you didn't, but you speed every day.
Yeah,
You just ain't got caught yet.
it's like,
You know?
come on now. It's just, you
Yeah,
know, instead of saying, and the flip side of that would be, oh man, are you good? You got the money to take care of it. That's community. At least in my opinion, that's community.
yeah,
It's not trying to tear down a person. It's supporting a person when we need to support that person or that family. And
yeah. We
that's
got
just, back in the day, that's what, honestly, that's what the civil rights. But you know what the thing is with the civil rights movement? Women. See, women get it. It's when we come over here with us, we tend to want to. I guess we got something to prove. I don't know.
yeah. I don't know what it is either. We're supposed to take care of each other, like Dr. Jones said. We do not need anything new. We just need to do what God told us to do. Well, not new as in brand new. It's just a new way of thinking, is what I'm
Hmm.
saying, Doctor. It needs to be a new way of thinking because when you don't evolve, then everything grows around you except you. If you don't evolve into what is new and see how everything else is changing, then everything grows except you. It's evident in a lot of the churches. You'll see a lot of the churches are losing people, and you got a church on every corner in the black community, every other corner, and they don't have anybody in these churches when the churches used to be full. And
Hmm.
the preachers can't hold them there no more because they're not giving them anything new. They're giving them only what they've used to give them so they can bleed them for the money. And I'm not saying this about every preacher. I'm
Right.
not saying this about every preacher, but but you see it every day. When I go to church, you can ask my wife. I tell her, I say, I want to feel it. I want to hear, I want to hear the pastor feed me with something I can feel in my bones, and I want to hear a song that will make me cry. Yeah, my wife, she, they'll be singing a song, and say, y'all didn't sing that right, you know, because I want you to bring it from here. I want you to bring it and make me feel what God is trying to tell you to minister your music to me.
Hmm.
I want to feel it. I done sit in the back of church and cried many a time because the song spoke to my soul.
Hmm.
But if you get away, people get away from that. They just want to hear praise and worship. But if
Hmm.
it ain't, if it ain't touching that person, if it ain't making that person feel something, you ain't doing
Yeah.
your job. You got to reach that person. But anyway, we all subject again, all on that. That's another day for another thing. Let me see what Doctor said. We should not we should not have a respect of persons. We need to learn to love like God told us to love. That is absolutely correct.
Right.
Love is that's what it's all about. That's the only force in the world. That's the most powerful force in the universe is
Hmm.
love. There is no stronger force in the world than love. We divided. We divided by people because we don't like each other to get ahead of one
Oh,
another.
yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that every day.
Which is
We
crazy to
want to get
me.
ahead. instead of bringing somebody up with us. But anyway, I think we can move on to our next subject. How do we bring us together?
I think my answer to that would be we go back to the institutions of how they used to function. What I mean, and I'm not going to pick on the church anymore. I'll use civic organizations like fraternities and sororities. I'll fuss at my group all the time about we'll have these lavish conventions and these bags and all this stuff and in these hotels, and there's folk out here hurting. That's not why we were founded. So we've got to go back to our original purpose. And and I'm not just picking on civic organizations. There's a number of organizations, if you look far back, when our folks ain't have nothing, that's why they were created. Not to walk around with the baddest and biggest shirt and the nice bag. That ain't why we were created. And that's why, I think we have felt this sense of arrival, and we don't see the things going on around us. It blows my mind that you got stuff like the Yamacross situation and you got Weeping Time, and we have yet to see just the outrage across the board. You got 5 or 6 or 10 people who are outraged by it, and that's because we don't understand our own history. But we can walk around here and tout founders and all this stuff, and my church this and my organization that. Get yourself together, because when we were founded and years ago, when right after post-slavery, these organizations were doing some work, getting in the trenches, and now we just want to go and have the nice banquets and see who can one up one another.
All we want to do is party. Um, Somebody said the NAACP does 2 things well, just 2: collect money and party. The only 2 things they do well. But one of the things, how we bring ourselves, how do we bring us together is, our unity is our strength. We have to be unified. If we're not unified, we cannot show any type of power. We cannot get any power. The name of this broadcast today was, what was it? Unity, power, and equity, equality. Unity, power, equality. But our weakness is our division. Our division is our weakness. Our unity is our strength. And that's with anything. Anything that you see. You have to be unified to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So
it's almost like, let me give you a good example of what's about to happen. I'll use Warnock's seat at the Senate. What they're trying to do, and folks don't see it, they're trying to divide the primarily the African American community and tear him down, so that half of us go vote over here and other loyalists will vote over here. It's a recipe that's worked for years. Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. That's how regentrification happens. That's how things like Weeping Time happen, because they divide and conquer, and we got folks that just either A, don't get it, B, don't care, or C, just don't understand the implications of all of this.
Well, I don't think that they can put anybody in that will be any real force on that's black against him. I see it's a Kevin King or something like that, just in it from the Republican side.
Mm-hmm.
A black guy, but he won't stand a chance either. He'll have to run against somebody on the Republican side first. That's the good thing about it.
Yeah.
He wouldn't stand a chance coming over here because he doesn't have the name recognition of the status.
I agree, but some of us think that grass greener. Some of us don't. It's a comment here from Bernard, and he's right. He said we can come together at the table. One thing, you're right. The issue I see is we have, again, the have-nots who don't want to talk to the haves, the preachers who don't want to talk to the rappers, the millionaire who don't want to talk to the lady over there in the hood. We got to do better. We've got, like you said, Bernard, we got to come to the table, but that means people got to take off this fake, what do you call it? This fake sense of arrival.
And then you got to
understand at the end of the day, like, you are who you are, and at the end of the day, you're gonna be perceived in America as that what you came in as. And I'll just
And
leave
you
it at
have
that.
to take, Robert, you have to take the boule out of it, out of the
The
leadership
bougie.
of it also. Because see, I had some people tell me that the reason they didn't go to Savannah State stuff is because they had all the alumni association didn't make them feel comfortable. They had all the old folks in there that were making them feel uncomfortable, not wanted, rather, not uncomfortable, unwanted. You know, they are in there trying to get in the way. They are in the way. You know,
Yeah.
they really are. Instead of just giving your money and sitting to the side, and letting these young people start leading, they want to stay in the way forever and tie things up. You got a bunch of them. You got Edna Jackson. You got Otis Johnson. Otis Johnson, the biggest disappointment to me in the history of Savannah. But yeah, I digress. Um, uh,
That's all. Yeah,
our,
yeah, yeah. I agree.
our talk should line up with our walk. Our mouth should not just say anything to get over. Um, and that's correct.
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct. You know, I don't see anything where the talk is lining up with the walk in the Savannah City Hall. The three women that are really advocating for the people, they are walking the walk and talking the talk. Everybody else is just faking it, especially the leader. He's faking it. And there's nothing that he's done for the community. What, gave away some bag lunches? No damn body want no bag lunches. We want
Right.
you to give out some contracts. We want you to make sure that everybody's sitting at the table like you promised on January 2nd, 2020. We want to make sure that everybody's has a fair shake. And name one job he gave anybody yet. One job.
Yeah. Well,
One
the
job.
thing, the
Do
thing
you
to
know
me,
one job?
the thing to me, and I know, but I'm built different. The thing to me, which would have been a defining moment, would have been a decision, a decisive decision on weeping time. That would have been a defining moment, and I think that was a missed opportunity. But everybody has their own politics and all of that. But understanding what and who and all that you are, make a statement. We will not build on this property. Some people are not gonna like it. Oh well. But leadership means you got to stand by yourself sometimes.
Yeah, and leadership means that you. Uh, and the bad thing is, how can everybody down there not see? And that was part of my closing argument. I mean, my closing statement today. I'll say it later, but you got to open your eyes. You really do have to open your eyes because when if I'm fighting Goliath and you see me fighting Goliath and Goliath beating me down, and you come and help me, and then I stand over to the side while you fucking Goliath. You just came and helped me. Two of us can beat Goliath. But I'm gonna sit back now and let Goliath just whip you down. People are what are you thinking? When somebody's helping you, you appreciate it and help them help you and
Hmm.
help the community so you can help other people. But I don't understand these people's thinking. I really don't. I really don't understand it. But that's part of the
Part of
what
the,
we.
part of the political process.
But I said we have to teach our young people how to lead. That is one of the things that I had on my thing. We got to listen, we got to recruit, and we got to recruit younger people to lead and be a part of the process. We have to do that. We have some new young leaders that's coming up, and hopefully they'll be appearing on these shows that we have. We'll be creating new shows for them so y'all can see them, so they can be in the community. There's a lot of them that are in the community now. We're going to pull them so everybody can see them. So y'all just stand by. We're working on it. It's a slow process. I've been slowed down because I'm running for mayor now. So but I promise you, I'm gonna get back on the ball no matter what happens. It don't make no difference. Whatever God has for me is for me. Whatever
Hmm.
roads He have me traveling down, those are roads that I'll go down. Ain't no difference in it. I'm gonna do whatever. I'm obedient now. I've been disobedient for first 29 years, 30 years of my life, and now I'm obedient. So I got to do whatever God has for me. So I see where He's taking me. That's where I'm going. Yes, you're correct. Weeping time is very dear to most of us. Weeping time should be very dear to a whole lot more of us too.
Mhm.
Not just in West Savannah, all of Savannah, not just in all of Savannah, all of Georgia, not just in all of Georgia, all of the
United
United
States.
States should be caring about the weeping time. You
That's
know,
right.
yeah.
Correct.
Yes, but that's correct. We know we got some fighters out
At the
there,
moment
and
now.
those fighters, we need to unite those
Yeah.
fighters. We need to unite those fighters so that we can have the power that we need so that everything can be equalized. And that's just part of it. Um, um, well, we have to think like that. We really do.
Hmm.
What was our next subject? What was it?
I
Oh,
think you
what
were
is the
saying.
plan? We got to be able to get a plan. They ain't gonna be long.
Yeah.
We only got 15 more minutes. We got 15 minutes to tell y'all to cover these last two things. Um, what is the plan once power is obtained? What is the plan? Do we open the
Yeah.
doors for everyone? What was the plan when that was promised on the campaign in 2019 for city council? You had people that promised us things. And I'm a man, promises made, promises kept, not
Mhm.
promises made, promises broken. Um, and then you're not even being respectful of everybody in their own positions. You're not being respectful of the citizens that voted for you. So you just thinking that you're a god, that you are the only one that matters, that your opinion is the only one because you know best for everything. Because you're not listening to anybody else. You're making everybody else go the way that you are going. And I'm talking about a certain person. Y'all know who the hell I'm talking about. Ain't no secret. But
Look.
um, do we open the doors for everyone? Do we? And that's what you're supposed to
Look.
do to be fair and equitable. It's not about black and white, even though we are the most forgiving people in the world. That's what we do. We forgive everybody who step on our neck. We forgive everybody who killed one of us. But
Mhm.
God says forgive. And so if we're gonna be that type of people, then we also have to figure out what is the plan going forward once you do it. It needs to be a plan. What do you think, Dr.
Oh,
Brian?
Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell shows us all the time, and Jay talks about this power. Let me tell you something. If we haven't, and this what gets me pissed off with the Democrats in Washington. When Mitch McConnell had power, I want to show y'all something. That was Supreme Court justice, that last one. That show you how. That's the plan. When you got the ball, run with it. You control the game. We'll get the ball, and we want, like you said, we'll pass the ball to the opposing side just so they can have an opportunity. We got to tighten up on that. And I'm not saying throw things and run, shove it down folks' throat. But when you got the authority, use it. I
That's
don't,
correct.
it's almost like Biden with the infrastructure deal. I'm glad we got one, but you're not gonna tell me you got a majority of the Congress and you didn't get your boy lined up in shape. All y'all had to do is tighten him on up. But yeah, we got a Mitch McConnell shows you all the time what the plan is.
Yeah. And we have to see whether when you get in these positions, you do you change the rules because the rules were made not for us. Do you change the rules or do you play by the same rules? Because if you don't change the rules, then when you lose power, then the people who come in will change the rules so that it would be at a disadvantage to you. Um, I have big plans, and that's
Hmm.
why they're so hard against me. I have big plans. There's a lot of things I'm gonna change up here. There's a lot of things that I'm gonna do. I'm bringing in people that's gonna be able to move this city forward. I'm bringing in people that are gonna make this a friendlier city. Somebody asked me, well, if I think the city's so unfriendly, why don't I move? No, I'm going. Why don't I govern? I'm gonna govern to
That's why
make
you
it
run for
safe.
office. Yeah, yeah.
I got a solution besides moving. I'm gonna govern. And I know they got a plan for me. Y'all just watch. God has already revealed it to me. So y'all, but like King said, I'm not scared. I'm not afraid. Whatever you're gonna do, do. But I got to be obedient to whatever God told me to do. That's all
But
I
you
can
got
do.
going
Ain't
back
nothing else I can do.
the geo. I mean, you got certain groups out there that will change the rules of the game, and that's fine. You just have to be more strategic. With this new, this voting stuff they got going on, SB 22. We just got to be more strategic on how we do things. And part of that, going back to the education piece, that means now we've got to get out here and do a better job of providing voter education. And again, we don't do this well enough. We'll go to Kroger and do a voter registration drive, but we don't want to go to Hitch Village and do the same thing. See,
Yeah,
we got to come on with all that.
yeah, yeah. That's correct. That's correct. Got to. And we have to have an agenda. We have to have an agenda to move everybody up, to make everybody equal. We got to level the playing field or change the rules, you know, so that everybody can have a chance. It's about an opportunity for everybody. And if some people don't want to do that, you have a lot of them that still uh, living in slave house, in the head house, and they don't want to move forward because everything is just great with them. But then that's the selfishness comes in. You still thinking only about yourself again when you should be thinking about
But guess what, though?
bringing people up.
They always say this: as soon as you put me over in the slave house, guess what they're coming for next? Your ass.
That's correct. That's
People
correct.
tend to forget that. You might knock this tree down, but guess what? You're gonna be the next tree that falls. So don't
That's
you gotta
correct.
be very careful about that kind of stuff.
That's
People
correct.
just
Because
fail
when
to
they
realize
through with me, ain't nothing left but you. They got to get you next.
that. That's
But they
brilliant.
don't understand it. Some people don't want to understand. Some people don't want to take their head out of the sand. Our last subject, leveling the playing field and moving the goalposts. Hey,
Hmm.
unity, power, and equality. You got to unify yourself. You have to, in order to obtain power so that everything can be equal. If we don't do that and you don't understand, the things are ripe for the picking. They gave you the opportunity to really control things, and you don't take advantage of it.
Yeah.
They voted 10%, 13%. If 17 to 20% of the people come out to vote, they feel like that's a success. A success. Instead of saying we want 90%, 100% voter participation. Then you can change things.
Yeah.
You have a voice then. So, I run across a lot of people out here, and there's a lot of new people. And believe me, it's about 60, 65%. The population has changed. And I run across, but a lot of the people aren't registered to vote out here. They're registered to vote in where they move from.
Mm-hmm.
Out of North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Alabama. I've been running across people from everywhere, Tennessee, and I've been encouraging them. You live here, so make a difference here. Change your voter registration to where you live at. You know, and and I'm talking about, man, if these people just change their voter registration, the people that I've talked to, if just the ones I talked to already. See, I'm going to talk to the people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried about somebody seeing a commercial video. I'm going to talk to the people. I'm knocking on doors. I'm talking to you in your face. You know, and if just those people go do what they need to do, I can't be beat. If just those people, I ain't talking about the ones who are already on board. I'm talking about just those people. So you have to be able to control where you live at. Don't worry about what someplace you don't live. You got to
Mm-hmm.
take care of home first. And so you got to get out and and um, and be able to vote and make a difference where you live at. That's the only way you're going to get the unity, power, and equality that everybody is looking for. That's the only way that you level the playing field, because
Right.
you can't move the goalposts if you don't have the keys to the field to unlock the darn gate.
That's it right now. That's right.
You can't, you know. Uh, anyway, give me
That's
your
right.
final thoughts, my brother, and we'll have guests on the show next week. We just wanted to talk about these things here because it
Yeah.
was on our mind this week, and just to our viewers, we'll have some guests on next week. We just wanted to run over these things.
Yeah. And I
We'll
mean,
probably
but it's important stuff because again, everything is interconnected. And by
be
everything being interconnected, it shows us that we're interconnected. And if we are not unified, then the chain link is broken. You
right.
can't secure anything with a broken chain.
Bernard said you got to have a plan, not to have a plan to just fool us. Stop letting the people treat us all kind of ways and start with us now. You're absolutely correct. And knowledge is power, but if you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the power. But you said something very interesting earlier, Bernard, and you said a lot of young people come to you and say, Coach Brown, why don't the older people just help us and not just talk bad about us? That is correct, because they're not passing the baton. They're not running the race and running course for you so they can pass the baton to you. They want to hold that baton so they can feel. I don't know what it gives them. It must be
It's fear.
kryptonite or
It comes down to fear of losing some kind of identity or power or whatever. But when you're not training a leader to come behind you, you're not doing anyone any justice.
Correct.
So
That's
anyway,
correct. That's correct. Absolutely correct. You got to train people up to come behind you, to do what's necessary so that if anything happened to you, the void can be filled. That's what we got to do, and that's what we're going to be working on in the next few months to years is training people to come up behind us. We might not look as old as we are, but we're getting there. We don't have long on this earth, so we
yeah.
got to be able to bring people up behind us. We got to make a way when there is no way for other people, and we got to set that course now. Um, you got any final thoughts before I give mine?
Oh no, I think mine was a minute ago. It's just making
Okay.
sure that we keep that chain secure because again, when you got a broken link in the chain, how do you keep things secure? And that means being united.
That's correct. That's right. That is absolutely correct. Well, I want to thank everybody for for watching. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and sharing. Make sure you share this program with everybody. We're here to give you information um, that you don't see everywhere else. And, it's just in my closing thoughts for the day. I want everybody to just think about what we're doing. Everyone should open your eyes and your mind. Open your mind and your eyes. Uh, do you ever wonder why I agree with the three women on Savannah City Council all the time? It's because nothing they do is about them.
Mm.
Nothing they do is about them. You don't disagree with people who are always fighting for the people. You agree with those people. They fighting for the people. So why would I disagree with them? If they were doing something selfish, I'd be the first one to say, oh no. And there's some on council that we're going to see whether they're doing selfish things. Because it used to be 54963. So we need to find out whether there is some selfish stuff going on. Alderwoman Miller Blakely, Brian Lanier, and Gibson Carter wake up every day fighting for the people. I stand firmly and steadfastly with them.
Mhm.
Your fight is my fight. I fight with them all day, every day. I urge everybody to join the fight with them, with us here at ATR, wherever we at, all the platforms. Pastor Leonard Small, Better Savannah, We all doing it. We are all trying to make a difference in everybody's lives. We're not bringing this information. You don't think we're just wasting our breath for nothing? We're trying to help people. That's what it's all about. When someone is fighting the bully for you, like I told Robert earlier, fighting Goliath, when somebody's fighting the bully for it with you, and you fighting the bully and they jump in to help them fight the bully. Don't walk away and let them fight your fight.
Mm-hmm.
This is your fight. They came to help. You got to help. You got to stand in. The COVID-19 pandemic woke us up.
Yeah.
It slowed us down, and it made us pay attention. That's what it did. It really did.
That's true.
It gave us a new set of eyes. It made us think in a different way. So now you have to get involved and get engaged. You need to do more than vote.
That's
You
right.
need to show your support. You need to join the fight. That's what it's all about. We're fighting. Times have changed. People are woke now. We woke, but we have to get engaged. It's more than just being woke. You have to be engaged and involved. Here at ATR, we've joined the fight. We will expose the bully. We will expose the sellout. We will expose the opportunists. We will expose the slave. We will expose the distractors. That's what we're going to do. That's what we have vowed to do until they take the breath from our bodies. That's what we're going to do. So when you see us on these shows, we're going to give you news that you can use. So pay attention to it. Support us any way that you can. Help us out any way that you can. And that's all we can ask.
Right.
My 2 minutes is up. I know that I get on this train, the talking, and we appreciate everybody, all the comments. Dr. Jones, thank you we appreciate all that y'all do. We appreciate it. We're gonna have some fundraisers at the Wow with everything because we need to keep these shows on the air. It ain't easy keeping the lights on. It ain't easy paying for all these apps and everything and running these shows. It takes time and it takes and anybody know with time it takes money.
That's
so we appreciate everybody coming in. We'll see y'all next Saturday. Tune in 6:00. Pastor Leonard Smalls will tell it like it is, and we'll see y'all here on Monday with Keisha Gibson Carter.
That's right. That's right.
Candidly Keisha. All right. Anything else, Rob?
All right. No, that's it. Have a great week.
Have a great weekend. See you later. All right, Bernard.